A lawsuit filed against East Point police alleging a brutal beating against a black man while he was restrained in a chair.
That beating causing the man to lose vision in one eye, and it was caught on video. Fox 2's Amy Lang with the story.
You keep acting like a child. You're going to get strapped in that chair, and you're going to stay there.
It's August 10th, 2015. Frankie Taylor's been picked up for drunk driving in East Point, and that officer wasn't kidding.
He told me that I was going to be able to use the arm, man. Come on, Frank, walk. Oh, man. Frank, there you go.
Officers pick Taylor up and take him to the chair and try to restrain him, threatening to tase him. That's when another officer comes in, puts on gloves, and strikes him repeatedly, knocking him unconscious.
Stop resisting. 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 Stop resisting.
The guy hit me so many times, it made me cry once I seen the tape. I was knocked out.
Another concern for Frankie Taylor, how he was treated, or in this case, not treated, after being struck in the head. Taylor says he wasn't taken to a doctor. Instead, he was transferred to the Macomb County Jail the next day. He ended up at Detroit Receiving Hospital for surgery on his eye, an eye that had already had a lens replaced once.
He has permanent loss of eyesight in one eye. His vision is severely compromised, and he has these horrible nightmares.
And I don't feel like that I was a threat to the officers to the point that they had to hit me until I was unconscious.
Attorney James Razor alleges not only did East Point police use excessive force on Taylor, they discriminated against him because he's black, refusing to let him make a phone call, even though he says white inmates were allowed to do so.
We want to protect people from this type of brutality by police forces. White folks were allowed to use the phone by the police officers. Even one that had urinated in his pants was allowed to use the phone. Frankie Taylor wasn't. And the only difference is that Frankie Taylor happens to be African American.
I wouldn't expect this from officers.
Razor has filed suit in federal court. East Point police say they cannot comment on pending litigation. In East Point, Amy Lang, Fox 2 News.
Disturbing video shows cops tie man to chair, beat him until he goes unconscious and blind. Read more at East Point. MI. Stop resisting are the infamous words of police in America. While many times these words are warranted, all too often we hear them being repeated over and over as restrained and even unconscious victims are beaten to a pulp. East Point's Frankie Taylor is an example of one of these cases. On August 10, 2015, Taylor was picked up for a routine DUI arrest and brought to the East Point Police Department for booking. When Taylor asked the officers what he was being booked for, they became enraged. "If you keep acting like a child, you're going to get strapped in that chair and you're going to stay there," an officer can be heard saying on the video. When Taylor asks to use the phone, he is swarmed by police and forced into a restrained chair as police threaten to taser him. Once Taylor is in the chair, a sadistic officer is seen putting on his blue gloves before pummeling Taylor's face, over and over again. "Stop resisting, stop resisting, stop resisting, stop resisting," yells the officer. Each time he yells "stop resisting," the officer doles out another blow to Taylor's face. This happened over a dozen times. On the fifth or sixth time, Taylor is knocked unconscious, but the officer continues over a half dozen more times. "Stop resisting," smack. "Stop resisting," smack. "Stop resisting," smack. The video is hard to watch as this vicious cop continues to smash the face of a man who was in jail for suspicion of a misdemeanor driving infraction. "The guy hit me so many times, it made me cry once I seen the tape." Sick, Taylor said to Fox 2 Detroit. "I was knocked out." After police put him in a restrained chair and beat him unconscious, Taylor was given no medical treatment. Instead, he was transferred to the Macomb County Jail. Upon finally getting out of jail, Taylor ended up at Detroit Receiving Hospital to undergo emergency surgery on his eye. However, it was too late. He has permanent loss of eyesight in one eye. His vision is severely compromised, says attorney James Razor. He has these horrible nightmares. Razor also claims that police discriminated against Taylor because he is black, noting that they refused to let him make a phone call, in spite of the fact that the white inmates were allowed to do so. You want to protect people from this type of brutality by police forces, says Razor. White folks were allowed to use the phone by police officers. Even one who had urinated in his pants was allowed to use the phone. Frankie Taylor wasn't, and the only difference is that Frankie Taylor happens to be African American. I wouldn't expect this from officers, says Taylor. Razor has since filed a lawsuit against the East Point Police Department alleging police brutality. East Point Police claim they cannot comment on the case now as there is pending litigation. So, it is unclear whether or not any of the officers who participated in the brutal and permanently damaging beatdown of a man arrested for a misdemeanor will face any discipline at all. Image: http://pixel.watch/QUT7 Warning: the video below is graphic and disturbing. Read more at http://thefreethought-project.com/disturbing-video-shows-cops-blind/pound sign LGHC5P3WP6DXHCCP.99.